It really accelerates me. I don't write the code myself anymore. I'm really AI first, and I'm like building together with the AI towards what I want to achieve.
That is Stijn Spanhoeven, XR software engineer at In the Pocket and one of the most prolific experimenters in the XR developer community. Stijn is all in on Snap Spectacle, has shipped real projects on Vision Pro, Quest and WebXR, and has embedded AI so deeply into his workflow to an extent that feels almost scary.
I download a lot of examples, so I have my own knowledge base full of open source code. I'm really building my own knowledge base about something, because then I can say to the AI, okay, I saw some project that uses this, maybe you can go have a look, or search in my knowledge base if somebody else solved this problem and how did he or she did that.
So clearly he is not afraid of being replaced by AI, but how about other developers?
I can do more in less time. People that are just getting started, I think it's harder at the moment because they don't have like that experience already. So it's maybe dangerous for them that they rely maybe too much on the AI and don't have the high-level concepts of how you should do software development.
We also look in depth at some of Stijn's latest projects, bringing Gaussian splatting to Vision Pro in a hospital.
For AZ Maria Middelares, it's a hospital here in Belgium. He made an iOS app where you can scan, so you can really guide the user. For example, nurses at the elderly home, they really are guided on how to make pictures of the wound from different perspectives. And then in like 5 or 10 minutes, the Gaussian splat is being generated. And then the experts, they can watch it in the Apple Vision Pro in really like high quality, and they can make an assessment of it. So
his experience with Snap Spectacles?
They have all the AR capabilities if you compare them, for example, with the Meta Ray-Bans. So these are really AR devices. Now that I'm working with them, I really can see the potential.
And why, even as the industry keeps saying XR is dead, Stijn believes developers right now are sitting on something much bigger than they realize.
Yeah, I have the feeling that I think 15 years ago with the iPhone, and then you had the apps on the iPhone, and everybody's exploring what direction we'll go. We as developers can help to define what the killer apps will be for these glasses and which direction we will take.
But before we get into it, I wanted to remind you that if you don't have the time to watch the full interview and want to learn from other founders and creatives at the intersection between XR and AI, you should definitely check out the XR AI Spotlight newsletter. By subscribing, you will get weekly interviews like this directly in your inbox and access to a list of tools and apps that allow you to experience Gaussian splatting in VR, on Quest and Vision Pro. Just check the first link in the show description. And now it's time to roll the title and welcome Stijn under the spotlight. Stijn, it is a real pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Really excited.
So, Stijn, I see literally loads of your experiment projects, paid, just discoveries that you share constantly. So, this might be a tough question, but what is the most exciting project and technology you're currently working on?
I think for me it would be at the moment the Snap Spectacles. I really like the device. It's very wearable. It's small. I know it's still a development device at the moment, but I see a huge potential for it.
So, talking about Snap, there are a lot of capabilities right now. It's basically everything in there, right? And it comes at the expenses of battery life and the weight of the device. It overheats after a while. So it is a developer device and it's fine. Do you feel that the next generation of spectacles will disappoint developers, or do you think that might still hit that sweet spot?
I believe it will hit the sweet spot. That's why I'm really all in on them. Fingers crossed indeed. Like you said, they have all the AR capabilities. If you compare them, for example, with the Meta Ray-Bans, which are also very nice devices, and I really like them, but I think it's for different purposes. So these are really AR devices, and now that I'm working with them, I really can see the potential. If they can fix all the things you mentioned, I think they will have a killer device.
So you also you talk about, of course, now the spectacles, the Meta Ray-Ban. I know that recently you've also been working on WebXR using the Quest, as well as the Vision Pro, some experiment with Gaussian splatting. So we're going to discuss about that. But maybe before we go into those details, how do you decide what to build?
That's a good question. My mind is constantly thinking about creating new experiments. I really like to combine, for example, I see this AI model and then I think, okay, with this device we can do that. And then what can we do with this together? And then I'm thinking, oh, we can do that. Or I'm seeing something, I don't know, on television, in public. I see, for example, a train passing by. I think, oh, it would be cool to combine train data with augmented reality, use some ML or AI and put it on top of the train. And that's how my brain just works. It's constantly trying to connect things and think of new applications and use cases that you can develop for it.
There is another problem though there, because I mean, the opportunities are endless, and at some point, imagine your brain, if it works in some way like mine, it end up with like a long list, and so you need to pick among this long list, right? And sometimes there is a passion being prioritized, there is learning, there is another element, there is money. That is another element that all needs to be considered. Like, so how do you decide what to prioritize?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's mostly passion. If I really believe in it, I go all in for it. But I had a lot of projects that I had in my mind that didn't work. Or I thought it had potential. I thought it would work, but then I hit some roadblocks. And then I put it again away on the backlog. But then maybe after a year, I write it all down. I maybe revisit it and maybe the tech is now ready or I found something new that is better. And that's how I really work. I try it out for a few hours, maybe a few days. If I see the potential, I continue to work towards proof of concept. But then in the end, if it doesn't work, then I just put it away and see maybe in the future it will work.
So in all this kind of like experimentation, right? And also how this is evolving over time, what is the role that AI is playing to help you, or let's say facilitating that kind of like quick experimentations, prototypes, or even final projects?
It really accelerates me. If I can do more in less time, I think it's for basic things at the moment. For example, you need to set up a simple API, you need to make a connection, you need to do something small. Then you can really work fast and you can set it up quickly. And for more complex tasks, I think you can't one-shot it, just do it in one prompt, but you can like build it in steps like you would do previously as developer. But I don't write the code myself anymore. I'm really AI first. And I'm like building together with the AI towards what I want to achieve. And I feel that really works well for me.
So can you give us an example of how you do it with one of maybe a recent projects? I don't know if you want to pick one. How was that AI layering at the beginning done, or conceptualization, or writing of the code, debugging? Give us an example.
So recently at In the Pocket, I think we will also talk about it later, but we did something with Gaussian splats. And there, for example, I started building the API. Step by step, I told the AI how I thought it should be. Then it made a plan for me. I looked at the plan. I made some adjustments. Then we started building. Then I started to try it out. Then I saw some things that weren't good. Iterated like that. So that was the API, but just basic like create, read, update, delete operations to fill the database. But then there was also a component where we needed to reconstruct a Gaussian splat. So there I tried different open source packages, and that was a bit more complex. There's more iteration, trying out, seeing how the result was. And that's the difference that I want to make, is that for simple basic things, you can like do it very fast. It just works. It has a lot of context and knowledge about that just works. But then for more complex ideas like setting up a Gaussian splat training pipeline in cloud, I that feels a bit more difficult. There you have more iterations, you need debugging, you need to, for example, you try it out, you have some error logs, you put it again in the AI, you talk with the AI, what could be some solutions, things like that. It's really like you're working with a colleague and discussing the topic, and then, okay, let's go this direction, or maybe let's go back, have a helicopter view, let's do it differently, things like that.
There is a lot that you said there. So I want to unpack first one thing.
Okay.
So what kind of knowledge does your colleague has? Is that the standard knowledge, or you kind of like feed in something specific to make it a bit smarter?
Yeah, good question. So I have multiple things. First of all, skills. I think at the moment they're very important. There are a lot of websites online where you can download them or you can make your own. So that's what I do. I'm using skills to really guide the AI towards best practices, how I would solve something, how a technology works, things like that. The other thing that I really do is I download a lot of examples. So I have my own knowledge base full of open source codes. For example, for Vision OS, I have a lot of examples. I download WWDC project talks and things like that. I'm really building my own knowledge base about something, because then I can say to the AI, okay, I saw some project that uses this. Maybe you can go have a look, or search in my knowledge base if somebody else solved this problem and how did he or she did that. That's what I really do.
So all this knowledge, right, to be extremely practical, is like, do you get the transcript from those videos? Do you get the code from those projects? Just dump them literally, or you have some sort of kind of like structure when you use this knowledge to be fed into AI, just like to understand literally how a developer can drag a folder and a transcript and put it somewhere else. Where does it put it? Is that just drag, figure it out AI and sort it? How does that look?
For example, for Vision OS, I have a folder for Vision OS just on my laptop, and I just dump all the projects in it. And then with Cloud Code, I just tell him, I don't know if it's a him, but I'll say him, but I'll tell him just go look into the folder, and it starts searching. I think it does some semantic searches and things like that. It's coloring context. It's using that context then with my prompt to really build the application. On the other hand, I also have more an XR knowledge base on XR, and that's for me to validate IDs. I have an ID, want to validate it. Is it a good ID? Do you have found maybe some examples somewhere? Is somebody else doing this? Do you have some new insights? How can it help me? And for that, I scrape, for example, YouTube videos. I scrape this podcast. I transcribe them. I transcribe the slides with Quen locally on my MacBook. So I really have a lot of documents, a lot of text where I again can search into with AI.
And I need to ask, sorry, Stijn, but I imagine that this is all yours, right? It's not something that people can access.
No, it's on my laptop locally. Maybe
and
I
it's
can.
Fair. It's fair. No, I just needed to ask because otherwise, people are like, oh,
it's good. It's good that you're asking, because I recently did a talk at XRCC in Breda in the Netherlands, and somebody also asked me, where can I download this? Where can I download this? Maybe I should make some online version. I don't know.
Everyone wants shortcuts. Sometimes you just need to do a little bit of work, so I totally respect that. So now, okay, fine. You train, you kind of like collaborate with this AI colleague, counterpart. Now, how much of what spits out is actually kind of like correct or needs to be rewritten? Because one of the concepts is that it is not, the code is not production ready. It needs to be rewritten. Based on your experience, what percentage of it's not ready?
I mean, for me, if I do it step by step, I think the code is quite okay. You still need to review it, of course. So that's what we're doing. For example, I'm reviewing it. A colleague of mine is reviewing it. So that's what you need to do, I guess. For XR, a lot is visible, so you can like test it on device and see if it's good. You can keep an eye on performance and things like that. Basic things that you would also do. What we also do at In the Pockets, we have CI/CD pipelines, for example, GitLab. That's also running AI again, but then as a reviewer, and it's really looking at code from best practices, from security standpoint and things like that to give you also extra insights there. So I think it's a bit both of them, but with the recent Opus releases, I think the code quality is getting better and better. So yeah.
And I want to be precise because everybody could have different standard for quite good, right? And there is also different application. There is code that could be quite good to make a video on social media that you want to share of something working, and there is quite good. Hey, this client paid us 100,000 to build this project. We deploy it. Is that good?
I think not for everything, to be honest. Yeah, sometimes you need to intervene, you need to make changes, but then I can guide the AI to what I want. So maybe then I say, oh, this is too big. This file, for example, is too long. Let's structure it a bit more so it's more clear for, I don't know, colleagues, or it's better for performance, or let's tackle it like this. So it's me just really working with AI. I think I don't write a lot of code myself anymore. It's just working with the AI and with your knowledge that you have, because I have some years of experience already. I think I can work with it and I know where I want to go and what the direction is. I think for people that are just getting started, I think it's harder at the moment because they don't have like that experience already. So that's maybe somewhere, yeah, that has some, how can I say it? It's maybe dangerous for them that they rely maybe too much on the AI and don't have the high level concepts of how you should do software development.
Yeah, because that's also the point. And I mean, I can see you are totally not scared, right? I mean, it's like probably the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see also how maybe senior developers that have the knowledge that can leverage this are not scared, because it's like, look, come on, I know that I can be faster with all the knowledge that I have. I can just build more or build even better or build wider, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But what about a junior developer, someone coming out of university or maybe has 1-2 years of experience building on the web or in XR, right? 3D. How should they approach this?
It's a good question, and I thought a bit about it, and I think what you can do, first of all, look at your code and understand the concept and what's it doing. Maybe question the AI if it's a good approach. Maybe there's other approaches. I would not take everything over blindly, because then you don't learn, then you just learn how to prompt and see what comes out of it. I would really look at the codes, and maybe if you think about it, maybe we need something for more inexperienced developers, that the AI starts adding more questions. How do you want it? This option, this option, this option. That it's maybe more like an interaction, because if you think about it, when I was starting my career, I also had a lot of questions, and I also had a colleague next to me, and I asked, what do you think is the best solution? And I think maybe we should approach it like this and be more like an interactive conversation with option, and then you can and maybe it feels a bit like a quiz, but I think it can help to have it in your brain, the structure and how the architecture is and things like that.
Interesting, because one of the things that I always think, and now this is a bit of a sidetrack, but one of the role of the education system should be to teach how to learn with the help of AI, so that doesn't just do the job. And it doesn't matter what topic that might be, right? It could be a language, but it's like not giving you the answer, but you understanding how you can use this new tool that is at your disposal also to learn whatever it might take. And of course, there might be tools that are more geared and developed toward that goal, right? Maybe there shouldn't be a generic AI or a generic tool that addresses this, because it's always gonna, let's say, gravitate towards giving you the answer or pleasing you all the time. And that's not what you want, right?
Exactly. Yeah, maybe we need more models. Now we're thinking hypothetically, but we need more models that are maybe testing your knowledge and maybe then deciding how they will approach it, and maybe not giving you the answer completely, but I don't know. That's how I think it can help people that are less experienced.
So one more I want to go back a second to what we were discussing about the coding, deploying something, and then there was a step where you mentioned about building this API for this Gaussian splatting, deploying on Vision Pro. So before maybe going more in detail about that examples, where do we stand with Gaussian splatting in XR? What has been your experience so far?
I think it's growing. For example, on Vision Pro, I see a lot of open source packages now, and I see a lot of people trying it out. On other platforms, for example, on Quest, I really like the 4D Gaussian splatting. I think it's Gracia or something. I think this looks really cool. For example, I follow Corridor Crew on YouTube. I don't know if you know the channel, but they recently did a very big video on Gaussian splatting, very well done. And they're doing like a live interview in 4D Gaussian splat with the creator. So I see it really growing. I'm following it already from the beginning because Gaussian splats are amazing. You can capture like really the reality, reflections and everything. And it's super performant. So also on the web. So yeah.
Is it? Because, okay. Let's do one thing, because Gaussian splatting, yes, super performance on the web, it's insane. It's just you cannot get a mesh looking that good at that light, period. End of the story. That's it. But XR, it's a bit of a different thing. Like, I mean, I have tried different ways of putting them in XR. And I'm not talking an off-the-shelf solution like Gracia that they do something different. They have their own proprietary format. It's a different thing. But when it comes to getting a splat as a file inside a headset, there are sets of challenges. And I was curious, I am personally curious to hear from you, what are the bottleneck or let's say benchmark, right? And I'm talking about number of splats, for example. I'm talking about file sizes, file format. Where do we stand? What have you tried?
So for the Apple Vision Pro, this is a very performant device. So there, what we did for our project, for example, is like not go too far in the number of splats, keep it a bit down, see where the quality is good in comparisons to the number of splats. For other devices,
Sorry, and where did you land it? 500,000, 1 million?
I think it's somewhere there, 500,000. Yeah, but it was like we scanned a small region of something, so it's not like a very big building or something. So it's a different use case. In size of, if you talk about file size, I really like the Play Canvas .sog file format. I recently did a scan of a car for my colleague. It was super big, so I reduced splats. I optimized like that, but then I converted it to the SOG format, and wow, it was only 7 megabytes. It's like a high quality picture, and I had a 3D model of a car with reflections and everything. That really blew my mind, I must say. This, if you think
but
about it,
did you manage to put it in a headset?
Yeah, I did it. I opened it in the Apple Vision Pro, and I also I made a web application, 8-ball, and I managed to show it on my table. It was really nice.
But was still on mobile AR, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. So I noticed that when it's about putting this in a headset, the number of splat has such a big impact, regardless of the file size. So even if you have, let's say, something around 500,000 above, it's still on a Quest. It's a no. It just can't. Even if the file is 12 megabytes, basically nothing.
True. I had some experience, now that I think of it. I did a proof of concept where I wanted to, like in the Black Mirror episode, that you can step into a movie. So what I did, I used Marble from World Labs to convert the Matrix scene, the dojo scene, and I made a splat from that scene, and it was like 500,000, and I made it in WebXR, and it was like not performing very well. So then I went to 100K, And that was okay for my proof of concept, but I agree, yeah, you're right. It was, it's a bottleneck at the moment, yeah. But in the Vision Pro, I don't have it really because the device is much more capable, has a lot more compute. So there it is a lot better.
Yeah, and I mean, I just wanted to show you because recently I've been done some experiments also with synthetic splats, and here this file that I've made is, let's say, 6 megabyte. So it's just insane. But
It's
this is the
insane.
moment that you get it, and I think this is around less than 500,000 splats. So I think this is around 300,000, and this you can play it in a VR headset. This works, or even on a Quest. But you see that when you, for example, start getting really close, that's the moment that you see kind of like the splat nature of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody interested, I made a video that you can find also on my YouTube channel when I went through the whole workflow. But here, what I had to do, of course, I had to cut the cropping, cut the environment around it. But yeah, again, you see also the little meme here. I don't know if you have played God of War, but
I didn't, but it looks really nice.
So then, can you tell us a little bit then what was this specific application for the this healthcare example on Vision Pro?
For AZ Maria Middelares, it's a hospital here in Belgium. They had a problem that they have, like everywhere, there's complex wound care. So people that are really giving advice on how to treat complex wounds. But a lot of, for example, elder people, they need to come to the hospital because they really need to see it in person to give some good advice on how to treat them. But these people are maybe less mobile. It's harder for them to come over. So we try to solve this, and I really like this solution because I think it's scalable. So together with my colleague Bram, he made an iOS app where you can scan, so you can really guide the user. For example, nurses at the elderly home, they really are guided on how to make pictures of the wound from different perspectives. And then we upload them to a cloud, private cloud. And then in like 5 or 10 minutes, the Gaussian splat is being generated. And then the experts,
Nurse?
the experts, they can watch it in the Apple Vision Pro in really like high quality, and they can make an assessment of it. So here you can see, they see the Gaussian splat. It's a limited thing they scanned. It's really high quality, and they can like move it around. They can rotate it. They can look to it. And the good thing is they can also catch reflections, and it's for them very important to see, for example, the humidity of the wound, or how does it look. And that's where Gaussian splatting is really solving this, because before they received, for example, bad quality photos, they received a video that wasn't very good, and now we can really guide the user to do a good scan. There we use AR kits to like really force them to catch it from different perspectives. And then with the Gaussian splat, I think it's a really good solution for them, and they tried it out and they really like how good it is, how real it looks and feels because it's 3D. It has the reflections and things like that. So this is something that I like because in a way you can scale it, because people can work with a smartphone. You don't need to teach them a lot about how a smartphone works, but the experts, you can really learn them how to work with the Apple Vision Pro. And they will use the Apple Vision Pro. They can look when they have some time to a wound. They then can give feedback. So I think it's a cool solution to solve this problem. And it's where I think Gaussian splats are really good for is to capture this and show it very realistically.
And so the process of capturing these, let's say, how many pictures do people take around the wound, so to say?
That's a good question. And we experimented a lot with them. And in the beginning, we took like 40, 45 pictures. But then the feedback was that it was a lot of work. And now we're like to 20, 30. And it gives us this good results, but because we're really focusing on one point, and then from different perspectives, we're like taking a picture and we get a good result out of it.
What about video instead?
You mean
Taking
capturing
a video. Yeah.
We went for pictures because we believe that the quality will be higher, less motion blur, things like that. So that's why we really went for the video approach.
And I imagine, of course, that people then will be able to see this even somewhere on the web, right? This is not only viewable on Vision Pro, correct?
No, that's correct. So we focused end-to-end on mobile and Vision Pro because the quality is really good on the Vision Pro. But we also made a web alternative just for debugging, for example. But also, if you don't have Vision Pro, then you can just look on the web, and that also works very well.
The other thing that I was curious is, I mean, this is pretty, let's say, deep tech, right? So no, I mean, when we really think about in healthcare, getting a nurse to start scanning something like this, there are all sorts of implications about the process, about having the phone, the app inside the phone, having Vision Pro in the facilities, training people on. So this looks like a massive, like a serious project. This is not something that you share on social media as an experiment. How do you go about that? How do you go about, let's say, maybe pitching this as a project and maybe like going through the let's say education of the different stakeholders that are involved? Can you tell us a bit how it worked?
Yeah, it's a long process in XR, I think. What you first need to do, from my experience, is planting seeds. So, for example, we had events. The CTO was at our event of this hospital. You put the headset on his head. You show him things. You plant small seeds. Then he bought the Apple Vision Pro because he really liked the technology. And then we started brainstorming. And then they came with a problem that they had, and then my brain was like working again. Okay, you have Gaussian splats. Okay, we want to scale it. We don't want to put Vision Pros away. We want to keep it at the experts because you must be honest, it is still a hard device to learn for people that are not in XR. So we need to really contain it with experts, and we need to make sure that the splats can be created or generated very easily. So that's really what was important. And that's how it worked. Like, you inspire people, you go into a workshop together, you start thinking about what you can do, and then you have a plan and you execute it.
And yet, in the end, though, I mean, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it was easy. I'm not saying that. But the point is that you need to have someone that has bought in the technology. I mean,
Yes.
not necessarily with his own money, but more with the concept, right? Because the
Yes.
point is that if that's not the case, it is super hard to push something like this. If someone is open-minded and is open to open up, literally, right, to, hey, these are the things we are facing, then I'm pretty sure that, again, not everybody can do it, but talented developers, talented teams can come up with solutions where XR is not the only end goal, because as you have described right now, this is also an amazing database and resources for the hospital, right? You can compare wounds. You can even do time lapse in a way. Hey, this was week 1.
Yes.
This is week 5. The value is just off the chart.
Yeah, and if you think about training also, people that are just getting started, that are in education, they can really see indeed also the progress on how to treat it and what we did. And there's also things that we, for this project, we think about, maybe you can use some AI to detect certain parts and give already some advice and really help them speed up giving advice on how to treat it. So I think there's a lot of potential there, but you need to buy in, exactly. And maybe some other experience that I can share is, you can demo it, for example, on LinkedIn, you share a video, but it's always 2D. What I try to do is put the headset on the people. And then they're like, oh, wow, this is cool. Oh, wow. But that's what you really need to do. You need to show it to them. And it's hard to see it on a video, how cool it is and how it works. So that's another advice that I can give.
And I think this is advice that a lot of people listening to this might have heard, right? So, and it's more of a reminder, I think. Put people in the headset. And
and push it. Just say, I will come to you and you just try it out. And that's what I would say. Yeah.
So bridging back a bit to the spectacles, right? Because given, let's say, your commitment and your experiments, I also know that they support Splats. Have you done any experiments there with it? Is there like any hope or chance?
Uh, I have some ideas. I started on it, but I didn't finish them. I work a lot together with Pavlo. We're like a good tandem. I don't know if you say it in English like that, but we're really complementary. And we had the idea of like capturing motion in a splat. So we started doing that, but at some point we were then redirecting to something else, and it's still on the backlog. So I still want to finish it. We got really far, but apart from that, don't have a lot of experience at the moment with splats on the specs.
But you do have a lot of experience in other things on the specs, right?
Yes.
And I am curious where you see it going. Like I had done, for example, an interview recently that people can find in a channel with Ina Horobchuk, and she does incredible work, I think.
Yes,
and
100%.
And what I love in her experiments is that there is a gamified element, but what she makes are not games. And I was wondering, like, where do you see these evolving and going? Because, you do have made games, and there is nothing wrong about it, right? I think the games are one of the best way to push what the technology can really do in a way, right? But do you see, let's say, the lens ecosystem leaning towards a utility, leaning towards the gaming? What's your take?
It's a good question. It's a hard one also, but I believe it has potential also. So first of all, yeah, gaming, of course. It's easy to where they really have good developer support for multiplayer, for things like that out of the box. So as developer, you can quickly start building something. So I definitely agree, games are a thing. But I think it's also interesting for day-to-day use. You're just walking around, maybe putting them on. You have your AI at disposal. You can ask questions. You can see things. Things are anchored to the real world. I also believe in those kind of applications. And I think there's also something for businesses. Imagine you're developing, I don't know, cars. Let's pick cars, and then you can maybe just quickly put on spectacles, see a model in 3D, discuss maybe what you will do with it, and then quickly put them off again. I really believe that if you look at the Vision Pro, very high quality, or Meta Quest, but it's harder to put on. It's more effort, I think. And with spectacles, me as developer also, I quickly put them on, test something, put them off again. And that's what I really like, is the wearability and how quickly you can demo something. You don't need to do onboarding, don't need to do the eye tracking on the Vision Pro, but you just put them on. People can start playing with it. And you don't look at the screen, it's projected, so it also helps a bit the dizziness that you maybe can have with headsets. So I think there's also potential there for B2B. Yep.
Yeah, and the point is that I'm convinced. Now, we don't know how this next generation is going to look like, what can do, what cannot do, and that is also going to define towards what, let's say, what angle this will lean towards.
Yep.
Now, yet, if you would build something, right, would you see people using them more for this kind of like entertainment, gaming, or more like for these AI use cases? Because you have also done a lot of work with the Meta Ray-Ban, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, in all transparency, my feeling is that the real usage will be driven by those kind of things, by the going around, by seeing information, or maybe like they will give it to you in a showroom. Hey, you can have an experience in our showroom, wear the glasses, just walk around, and you're going to get information about this or about this. You can talk with our AI. So something that is at the edge of utility and maybe like a business LBE use case.
Mm-hmm.
It Is that just my feeling, or you think that gaming, multiplayer gaming even, as you brought up, is a venue for this?
I believe what I'm missing on the Meta Ray-Bans, to answer your question, is the visual aspect. I tried the Meta Ray-Ban displays. They're super nice and also not very heavy as the spectacles at the moment. But it's hard to compare them because they have different technology and everything. But if you try to compare
Exactly.
them,
I think they are so far apart in a way.
yes.
Everybody now, we can compare them, but I don't think it's a fair comparison
Yeah.
to either both. One can do everything, but the battery lasts 45 minutes. The other can do very few, and it's an actual pair of glasses that you can use.
And there, I think they will need to find sweet spot. But what I'm missing, what I was going to say is what I'm missing on the Meta Ray-Bans is like that you can anchor content to the real world. So for example, I did on the Meta Ray-Bans a virtual tour where you have your mobile phone and you can do a tour. For example, for me, it was in Ghent. It was like a guided tour on own context, on own data. And there I was missing that I can show something to the person. So what I did, I let the AI automatically choose when it needed to open something on my mobile app. So that works. And you can say like, the AI can say, look at your phone, I showed you something. But that's already, you need to open your smartphone, you need to look. That's where I then like the Snap Spectacles, because you can then like really project it. Let's say you're looking at a building, you can project something, or maybe a Gaussian splat of a person can be in front of you explaining you something. So I think there's also potential there that you can really show something in the real world. So it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I think that we also, and we haven't mentioned in a way all those, let's say, Rainio and all those other type of glasses, because they take, of course, also a different approach where the display capabilities are to a bare minimum, and maybe it's fine. That's the other thing. So right now, I think that all hardware companies are building like without knowing what's going to work, and that's one of the major challenges.
Yeah, I have the feeling that, like, I think 15 years ago, is it 15 years ago? I don't know, but the iPhone, and then you had the apps on the iPhone, and it was like, also maybe we're in that same kind of moment now with glasses. We're like, everybody's exploring what direction we'll go. And now they are giving developers access, like for Meta Ray-Ban, for spectacles, maybe the other ones. And I think then we will start to see which direction we'll go. Do we need it super wearable, super long-lasting battery? Do we need that direction, or do we need something more visual, but then less battery? I don't know. I think we'll see, but I think we're in that kind of moment at the moment where we as developers can help to define what the killer apps will be for these glasses and which direction we will take. So I think we're in an interesting period now.
Exciting time. And yet everybody's saying, I mean, we can safely say everybody's saying XR is dead, right? I mean, let's be honest. We can say it.
They say it, but I don't believe
it.
No.
I am not saying that this is true. I'm not saying this is true, but I am saying that everybody's saying that XR is dead. Now, from whether we agree or not, right? Do you think there is space nowadays for solo developers in XR, and if so, in what shape?
First of all, I think what I want to say is, first of all, is I think XR and AI needs XR in some kind of way, because AI you can listen to it, it can tell you things, but it can then also show you things. If it has real world understanding, I think that would make it a lot better. On the other hand, answering your question, it's hard for me to give an opinion about it because I'm not in that position. I have a full-time job, and okay, I'm doing some freelance work maybe on the side, but it's small and it pays my hardware, to say the things that I buy. I can use that. So I think I would say maybe team up with somebody and have a lot of skills, and then maybe that would be my advice. But again, I'm not the right person, I guess, to answer that question.
And so then what about different questions? Because I can imagine that there are also many developers that have a full-time job, or maybe they have 2 or 3 ongoing contracts, for example, right? And maybe one is their dream, 2 more are okay, right? That it's like nice projects, work with nice team. But there is that itch, right? That itch of curiosity, learning new things. How do you, because that's partially what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance those two? Can you, or that comes at the expense of sleep?
Yeah, I think sleep, yes. I think I need not a lot of sleep, but it comes at a cost. So I need to balance that better. I know that, but it energizes me, and that's the thing. I really love to work on ideas, proof of concepts, and if it then works, it's like the aha moment, and I really like it. So that's why I keep doing it, because I really like it, and it helps me also for my full-time job to have those insights from all the experiments that I did. And then, for example, in pre-sales, I have better knowledge of what is possible or not because I have already tried it in some kind of way. Not production ready, but I have a good sense of how it can work and how it can be. So it's a bit balancing it, right? But if you have a passion, I think, yeah, you need to go for it. And that's what I'm doing. So.
And you brought up another thing, right? That sometimes the knowledge, it's not something that translates into codes, but also something that could be of other value to the company. Like, what can we do? What can we pitch to this client? What is completely bonkers? How can I help the 100% sales guy, because there is someone involved in this process, also create a better deck, create a better pitch? Is there a quick prototype that we can build that is going to sell this? Yes, we can do it. Can you make it? Yes, with AI, I can do it. It's going to take 3 days. Let me put something together, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And it also helps you. I'm a lot in pre-sales conversations also. It helps to already give that confidence to the client that something can maybe work, or I can maybe show some things that I already did to really convince them that it's possible and that you can do it. So I think it helps a lot. And also you as a person or as a developer to otherwise you will need to say to the client, oh, I will look it up, I will come back to you. But if you already know, then you can already tell them or show them, hey, I did this. And it gives a lot of confidence on the other side that you can do it.
Stijn, I wanted to thank you very much. I think we covered a lot of ground. So if people want to stay up to date with your experiment prototypes or even projects at In the Pocket, where can they find you?
LinkedIn, I would say. I'm also on other social media, but most of the things I post on LinkedIn. So that's a place to be.
Awesome. So if you haven't seen, check out the link to Stijn LinkedIn in the episode description. Check out mine, check out other episodes, and thank you, Stijn, for being with us.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening in. If you like the show, remember to leave a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or a thumbs up on YouTube. It really helps me keep doing this and shine the spotlights on the greatest founders and makers, pushing the boundaries of XR and AI. Also, make sure to check out the show page xraispotlight.com, where you can find more conversation like this one. Till next time.